Hey there, everyone. It's your good friend Eric. This is the Leading Edge Podcast. This is episode number 41, and I appreciate you engaging with this. As always, I'm going to do a book review on this podcast. I usually do book reviews on the round every 10 episodes, so at 10, 20, 30, etc. But episode number 40 was kind of a special tribute to a friend of mine who passed away, so we're doing this book review on number 41. In any case, you all are awesome for engaging with me. So this book report, this podcast is about an amazing book, an incredible book that I highly recommend that you read. Even though you're going to hear about it, I still recommend that you read the book called Give and Take. Incredible book by an incredible person. So the book is about a author, obviously the author's research into success as it relates to giving. Okay, so it's written by a gentleman named Adam Grant, and at the time he wrote the book, he was 31 years old. And at the time he wrote the book, he was the youngest ever professor at the Wharton School of Business. So I'm guessing that a lot of you have heard about Wharton, world-class university and business school, the best of the best. And there he was, 31 years old as a full professor. So he's kind of a big deal, if you know what I'm saying. Pretty smart dude. You can find some of his work also on YouTube. I think he did a TED Talk, and there's some other things you can find from him. He's someone to follow. So again, this is his research into success as it relates to giving. The simple premise of this was, how does being a giver create success or not? That's what he wanted to find out. So what I'll tell you is that some of this research and some of the results would be expected, and some of this is surprising. All right, so as you hear about the results, sometimes you may say, you know what, yeah, I would have predicted that, but some of this will be surprising for you. All right, there are, according to Adam's research and according to his conclusion, there are three types of people. There are three types of people. There are givers, takers, and matchers. All right, so he found it's not just the fact that there are givers and takers, but there's also this other group called matchers. Givers give, obviously, you would have predicted that by the name. Givers give, takers take, and matchers match. What that means is matchers match the style of the kind of people or the person that they're around. By the way, most people are matchers. And so what matchers do, if they sense that someone else is a giver, they tend to be more giving. If they sense that someone else or the situation is a taking kind of a situation or a taking circumstance, they will be more of a taker. So the matchers are going to match the reciprocity style of the other person. So if they're around a giver, they're going to be more giving. If they're around a taker, they're going to be more taking. So givers have a strong preference to give more than take, right? And they view the world as a very friendly place. So they believe that success is all about helping other people succeed. They're super into win-win situations. And they are really interested in the whole, all right? WHOLE. They're interested in the whole being better off. So they look to always improve the overall situation. They are, again, just genuinely interested in helping other people, all right? So they don't have hidden agendas. If someone needs their help, there's just really no need to think about it. So they gladly give without expecting anything in return, all right? So that's a big thing. So they will just gladly, easily give and not expecting anything in return. Takers, on the other hand, are the opposite, all right? So they view the world as a super competitive place. It's dog eat dog, right? They believe in just looking out for themselves and only themselves. They don't really care about how it affects other people, how it affects the whole, right? They're in constant competition. They have to prove their competence to other people. So they're really into self-promotion. They're really into getting credit for their own efforts and maybe even someone else's efforts. And they're just super into what's in it for me? So what am I getting out of this? What value will I receive? How is this going to make me better off? Is this really worth it for me? So they're super calculating, very self-protective. They're looking out for number one, which is themselves, and they're going to make sure that they're not going to get left behind. All right, so that's all about takers. Then again, matchers. So matchers are really into fairness. That's a big deal about matchers. They're into fairness. They are into reciprocity, kind of if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And your relationships are often governed by the exchanges of favors. Like, hey, someone did a favor for me, so now I'm very willing and likely to do a favor back for them. They kind of keep a ledger in their mind about people that have done things for them, and they want to make sure that they give back and kind of even up the ledger. They like to have that to be in balance with other people, okay? So again, most people are matchers, and something else that's important to clarify that Adam Grant found in his research is people will change at least a little bit. They'll change depending on the circumstance. So you may think even about yourself when maybe in your family you're more of a giver, or maybe at work you're more of a matcher, just for example. So people will change based on the circumstance, at least slightly. But I think people who live in those extremes, someone who's an extreme taker most likely is going to be an extreme taker no matter what the situation is, right? But people can change at least a little bit. I think a good example of this is to think about if you were going to move, all right? So maybe back in the day when you were young, when you needed to move, maybe you're changing apartments and you needed to move yourself. Maybe back in the day you couldn't afford a mover, so you need to move, and you may reach out for help. Okay, so let's say that you're the one moving and you reach out to ask someone for help. So if you reach out to a giver, they are going to be super happy to join you. They will gladly join you without thinking too much about it, assuming that their schedule's free, that they don't have something else important going on. A giver will say, yeah, sure, no problem, be happy to help you out. A matcher, the next thing that they're going to think about after their schedule is the ledger in their mind, right? So they're going to think about, okay, is this person who's asking me, have they done some things for me? Do I owe them back a favor? Have they been giving to me? What's my relationship like with this person? Where's the balance for reciprocity? And again, they're not doing it in a manipulative way. It's a sincere way, and they're really thinking about, okay, is this someone that is really worth the effort for me to put in, because they've done some great things for me. So if they think, yeah, this person, oh my gosh, they have helped me so much, they've done so many favors, I really owe it to them to go help them out. It's the right thing to do for me to go help them. This is a really awesome person, very giving person. I should do that. Whereas if it's a taker who's asking a matcher, they're going to say, you know what, I think I'm tied up that day, because in their mind they're like, geez, this person, all they've done is kind of take from me. They haven't really done anything for me. They've done the opposite. I'm not going to help them out. All right. And takers are only, if you're a taker and you're being asked to go help someone move, you're only going to say yes if you think that there's something that's going to be in it for you. All right. So if you think that ultimately you're going to get something back from that person, then you like the idea of them owing you back a big, big favor, that's when you're going to say yes. All right. So hopefully that clarifies this a little bit for you, and you kind of get it. You get these three styles. Again, it's givers, takers, and matchers. So now let's think about people at work, and let's think about success. All right. So we're going to go through things that happen at work and also talk about success. So here's a quote from the book. When you think about these three different styles at work, what Adam Grant says is that the evidence shows that at work, the vast majority of people develop a primary reciprocity style, which captures how they approach most of the people most of the time. And this primary style can play as much of a role in our success as hard work, talent, and luck. Again, this primary style, whether you're a giver, taker, or matcher, can play as much of a role in our success as hard work, talent, and luck. That is a huge deal, right? So we think about the importance of hard work and talent. And what Adam Grant says is that you being one of these styles will have as much of an impact on your work success as any of those other things, all right? So the question is, based on Adam Grant's research, who are the most successful people? So ultimately, who are the most successful? The givers, takers, the matchers. No surprise, I don't think, and I think something to be predicted and something that's really good news. The most successful people are the givers, okay? The most successful people are givers, and isn't that terrific news? Isn't that kind of refreshing? Isn't it kind of a sigh of relief to think, okay, good, so the good guys win in the end, right? The givers are going to win. That is the way to go through life. If ultimately you want to be successful in the long run, what you want to do is you want to be a giver. But then it begs the question, so why? Why are givers successful? Based on the research, why did the givers end up out on top? And it's really three big reasons. And all these make sense, but it's kind of a cool aha. The three big reasons are these. So the givers have the best reputations, the best relationships, and the biggest networks. Okay, so it's again about someone's reputation, their relationships, and their network. So they have terrific reputations. And you yourself can probably think about someone who's really a giver, right? They just give no matter what. They're just amazing givers, not expecting anything in return. What's their reputation like? Their reputation is amazing. And I'm guessing that you tell people, unsolicited about that person and how wonderful they are and how they just give, and how much you appreciate that. So givers have amazing reputations. They have great relationships. So you think about the strength of a relationship that a giver has, right? It's just so deep and strong and solid. I think about my late grandmother, who was absolutely a giver. And I just had such a strong relationship with her, such a deep connection. And her reputation was amazing, because, people just loved her. They adored her. They loved talking about her, even not in her presence, right? They just talked about how incredible she was. And that ties to the third reason, the network. People who are givers have incredible networks that spread far and wide, because people love to talk about these givers. And the network, what gets interesting about a giver's network is that they have a network oftentimes of a ton of matchers, because most people are matchers. So they have a network of people who owe them a favor, all right? So they have this network of people, and these people in their mind are like, oh my gosh, this person has given me so much. I owe it back to them to do them something. I need to do something great for them because they have given me so much. Again, most people operate in a matching style. And so the ledger in these people's mind is out of balance because this person is giving them so much. So the givers have these vast networks of people who all feel like they owe that giver back a favor. Isn't that amazing to think about? Just the power of that and the impact, and then you say, well, of course, ultimately that's why they're going to be successful in the end. That's why they end up on top. Now, takers, on the other hand, takers are the opposite when it comes to relationships and reputations and network. Takers do not have great reputations, right? Their reputation is well, watch out for that guy. He's in it for himself. Don't get too close to him. Watch your wallet when you're around that guy. They don't have very strong relationships, and they don't have very many relationships. Their relationships tend to be with other takers, and because they, ultimately they're the only ones that will hang out with each other. But those relationships are not that strong, right? And they certainly don't have large networks. They don't have networks of people who owe them back a favor. So that's why the takers are not on top as the most successful, all right? So matchers play a huge role in success, right? Matchers play a huge role in success. Number one, because they are the most people out there are matchers. And so when a matcher is around a giver, they want to give back. When they're around a taker, they want to take back. They want to watch out. They want to not give that taker anything. So here's the thing. When a matcher when they see a taker taking advantage either of themselves or someone else, they want to get even, right? Because again, they operate from a perspective of fairness. They want the world to be fair. They want the world to be in balance. So when they see a taker doing something wrong, trying to take someone down, trying to take themselves down, they will want to get even. They will think about, all right, how can I take that person down? Or at least how can I maybe not do that person harm, but how do I make sure that I don't ever help that person? How do I make sure that that person does not get ahead? All right. So the matchers are the ones having a huge influence on who ultimately becomes the most successful in this whole game. All right. Is that making sense so far? So isn't this cool stuff about givers, takers, and matchers? So matchers, what they do is they give givers a bonus. All right. They give givers a bonus for being givers. And think about today's world and how connected people are. And then think about how important giving becomes, because of our social networks and specifically because of social media. Think about, number one, how connected we are. And then also think about how easy it is for reputations to be spread, whether on social media or places like Yelp or in real estate Zillow reviews, right? It's just super easy to find out about someone. Your reputation will be very transparent to lots and lots of people. Lots and lots of people you've never met before can easily find out about your reputation. They can get a sense of your relationships. They can easily become aware of what your network is like. So that's another reason why this is becoming even more important as time goes on. It's a reason why givers will even more so end up on top as the most successful. All right, but here's the thing, and here's what here's the interesting, kind of surprising thing and we'll finish the podcast with this. And the most surprising thing is that the group at the bottom are givers. So again, the most successful people, the ones at the top, are givers, but the ones at the bottom are also givers. Check it out. Adam Grant, the author, what he found was there are two types of givers: those that end up at the top and those that end up at the bottom. Two types of givers. So the ones at the bottom, they are givers and they have great hearts, but the thing is, they're not good at setting boundaries. They're not good at setting boundaries. They tend to have people walk all over them. They don't take care of themselves ultimately. All right. So it can almost become like kind of a martyr thing, right? So they give, but they never ever take care of themselves. And so they end up at the bottom as being the least successful. You may think about someone in your life who's kind of that way, God bless them. They're an amazing person, such a giving heart. We love them for that. But then at the same time, it breaks your own heart because you watch them give till there's no end, and you watch them not take care of themselves. You watch them not have any boundaries. You watch them let others walk all over them and take from them. And it's really hard to watch. So again, God bless them. They're amazing. They're incredible. But they don't know how to set boundaries. So the takeaway is this. The takeaway is we all will do better in life by being givers. And that, gosh, no surprise. And isn't it refreshing again that the research backs that up? So let's all commit to being givers, and also let's all commit to taking care of ourselves, all right? Let's give back to ourselves. Let's set really great, healthy boundaries around us. Let's have clarity on what's okay and what's not okay. Let's not let people walk all over us, especially the takers. We're not going to let takers walk all over us. Let's be good at saying no. And at the same time, let's all be givers. And so I think because most of us are matchers, and I can certainly think of me in my life, I spend a lot of time being a matcher. What if we all were able to shift that at least a little bit? What if we were all able to shift that over and become more giving, and at the same time still take care of ourselves? Wouldn't we be better off for that? All right, guys, that is my book report on the amazing book called Give and Take by the author Adam Grant. Please check it out. Lots more in that book that I didn't have time to share that's worth reading or listening to, however you want to absorb that book. It's incredible. You are incredible for engaging with this podcast. It means the world to me. And the other thing that I want you to check out, I mean, come on, come check it out, is the Leading Edge. So you got to join my Leading Edge Inner Circle. We're doing some amazing stuff in there. February is all about your routine. All right. So we have a lesson put together on your routine. I show you how to build a routine, stay on that routine so that you are way more likely to accomplish your goal. So go to jointheleadingedge.com to see more about that. In the meantime, enjoy life on the leading edge. We'll see you in the next podcast.